our bumper horns, frame horns, are just sticking out too much, showing too obvious.
Black and dead, black and dead blue. The black and down and marketed to American government. Black and dead, black and dead, black and dead blue.
So I made these cuts in this rail so I can wrap that bottom piece up around there and kind of skinny up that rail so it just isn't as noticeable up here. Not so noticeable that it's a frame swapped truck, and just kind of make things a little more neat, tidy looking factory here. So I'll show you how I'll do this. So that's kind of how that works. Don't try to hammer it all the way around in one go. Keep it tight. So you hammer it up when it's tight, you'll weld it. Hammer it up, it's tight, you weld it. Hammer it up, tight, you weld it. And just keep going. And that kind of made a nice, you know, now it's not so in your face here on the front of the bumper. I need to clean up that old body mount a little bit. That was the old core support mount that kind of has a hanger left there. So I'm going to use the torch and kind of clean that off a little bit, and then I'll grind this weld down and smooth it out a little bit, and then I'll put our hook up on front here. So I'm happy with the hooks and the way the frame turned out there. I think that all looks pretty legit. I think we will end up putting a skid guard in front of there in between those two rails down to the lower mounts of the lift kit. I'm happy with that part. While I was laying underneath there, I noticed that this bumper is a little twisted out though. It's twisted from the mounts out this way, so I imagine the truck was backing up and this bumper caught something and it pulled it out. And instead of trying to bend it or whatever, I think I'm just going to do a relief cut in it to the center here, top and bottom, and then move it back until it's looking right. It looks even with this line here, and it just starts to open up slightly right there. But as we get into this area, it's a lot more noticeable. You can see that has kind of a nice even contour to it, where this one is opened up and it just kind of opens up further and is most noticeable in this section right here. And it's actually more noticeable when I was looking up from underneath for whatever reason. We're going to do a little slicey dicey there, bring that in, and I'd like to take the bumper off and make the bumper mounts better now that I have them located. Lost a grinder but gained a straighter bumper. It makes me sad. It was the grinder I like too. I like the longer, skinnier ones and the shorter, fatter ones. Shorter, fatter ones make my hands hurt. Kind of like the scar on the bumper. Suppose I should take the bumper off and finish up the brackets so this is done, even though I feel like leaving the bumper on and calling it a day. I still got an hour of work. My boss is a dick, so. Well, I want to cap this area, and I think I'm going to weld this up first so it's easy to get to that weld. But I don't like how my brackets are going here. I don't like the size of bolt that I chose to put these together on. This one's too high. When we mounted it originally, I mounted that thing too high, so this is even used. I made a little mark here where this upper hole was, and so I know that that slot is that big there. So I think I'm going to cut this nut out, weld another bigger nut in here, and then I also mark that bottom hole, which is here, which is really close to that area on this side, a little bit further away on the other. But I want to cut out a bigger hole here to use a bigger bolt than I'm using, because I don't know why I decided to use these before, but I don't want to use them. I want to go with something a little bit more substantial, a little bit more of a normal bumper bolt. Person will build something like this, and someone might look at it like, well, why didn't you do it this way? Well, it's easy to see after this is done how it could have been done. And sometimes you need to look at it and say, well, that's not even going to work for me. I need to do it better. And so we're going to do this a little better. Alright, look at those bad boys. All cleaned up. got bigger nuts. Need to weld the bottom of the hooks, but that's shit.
Black and dead, black and down below. The black and down in market issue, American government issue. Black and dead, black and down below.